a part of something special. We're a part of something special. We're a part of something special. It's a crack.
So I'm here at our maize fields, and this is a very wondrous sight. This is all of the maize for Feather's Tail and for Share Tanzania as well. So the Children's Fund, and of course it'll feed the children in our care as well, living at Feather's Tail, and the Angel's Gate also can eat from here. And it's just an absolute 100% difference to last year when we didn't get the weather. Last year fields were dying, we're having to pump water into the fields, and come June nobody had any maize. This year, even if the sun starts scorching hot, everyone's maize is going to live. So the ground's saturated, and we've had several heavy downpours, and we've still got more to come by the looks of things. So, and this is, you know, there's just something very, very wonderful about it. Truly, all of this will feed us and fuel us. You know, when you grow up in the West and you eat your food from a supermarket, you really lose a connection and an appreciation for all of it. And I have a great love for this plant, a great love for it, because I see how hardy it is, I see how wonderful it is, and I see how many people absolutely depend on it for all that they do. All of the persons here without this plant would not survive. Now I know there's a lot of people out there, and like the vegans following me possibly as well, who eat a raw diet and say that's the original diet that we evolved from back in the forest, and I won't argue with the fact that we have a lot in common with fruitarians, but to neglect such wondrous plants as maize, I think, is a crime unto itself, because it deserves a great deal of love and respect. The way it can be stored, the way it can be grown in all different conditions, the calorie output you get from the flower, etc. It's a miracle that it exists, and it just fits into our oneness with the planet and with Earth. And I said this the other day while I was down in the forest when the rain had been. This sense of oneness that many Westerners seek in meditation must have just been profoundly apparent there and there every single day for persons like the native tribes who relied on farming maize and things like this. Because you're there, you're waiting on the rain, you're waiting on the sunshine, you're hoping that all of those laws of reality, those natural laws of Mother Nature, are going to fall in line for you. And you do pray and you do give great thanks when it happens. And you feel so connected, so connected. And I have such a love for this plant, I can't really describe it. But it's a genuine love. And I don't ever recall in the West loving a cucumber from the supermarket, because I wasn't feeling as connected to it. For all I love my food now, I know the importance of loving my food before I consume it. I didn't feel connected to the process, and I think that process is desperately important. So this year we're planting, again, a Native American means as well, from the Hopi tribe, which makes me feel a little more spiritually attuned as well, dare I say. So we'll plant the Three Sisters here, so the beans will go in soon. We couldn't really keep up with the rate that the maize grew on our planting schedule. The maize has grown so quick, it's unbelievable. So, and then we'll plant the squash as well, and the squash will retain the moisture. Beans will grow up this maize, and we'll harvest them all when the time comes. So, yeah. What a blessing. Of course, we don't own this land, by the way. The land is rented. But it's cheaper to rent the land and cultivate it than to just keep buying maize constantly all year round. So we buy so much and use so much for everybody. Something, feeling I can barely describe, this unity I feel with the earth, everything, with the soil, with the plants, with the weather, with the end product when I'm eating it. So grateful. I totally understand why ancients worshipped things like foods and so on and so forth, and the processions of the sun and the seasons. It makes sense. Naturally, when you live this way. Last year, we were in a lot of trouble. We struggled financially because our crops died. And this year, I'm just so happy, because I know at least we've got our stable. Even if half of this doesn't make it, if we get a hot snap and half of it doesn't make it, which is highly unlikely at this stage, then we'll still be way ahead of where we were last year. But I also know that the families around us, their fields are surviving, which means I won't see as many malnourished children this year, and I won't have as many people knocking on the door asking for us and leaning on us for support as well. So, which leaves us, hopefully, more resources to help in other ways. So yeah, this is our wonderful, wonderful 5.5 acres of maize. So. Right, I'm gonna go off, get some breakfast, because I've been up early, been for a run, came here, and now I just stood up and I felt a little lightheaded there. I best go eat. I even have some porridge made from maize flour. So, okay. I'm going to try and do a little more footage of life around Featherstail and what we're doing with the NGO. I took a little bit of a breather from it to give everyone else a breather from the camera, but we're back. I'm back. I'll let you get caught up on all the children and everyone else, so, and everything else like this, which allows us to live. Such a love for this plant. I accidentally snapped one on the way in, a small one, didn't see it, and my heart broke for this plant, because I know it's one less maize cob in the mouths of children. I was so sorry. So sorry. So, such a connection. It was missing from my life in the West. I'm happy to have found it here. Growing food can give you a oneness meditation. It can. Very strange for me to realise that at such a late point in my life. God bless, guys. Bye. And of course all the cows are fat now at least anyway. So.